I want to talk about why I believe we'll see $100 oil again. And I want to talk about how the U.S. oil production drop is steeper than expected. I'm Sean Pruitt, president of Kingdom Exploration. Current oil price is $32.48. Brent crude $34.35. U.S. rig count collapse continues despite soaring oil prices. Oil and gas rigs in the U.S. fell again this week by 21, falling to 318, with the total oil and gas rigs sitting at 665 fewer than this time last year. That's a 67% drop off in a single year. So 67% of the rigs have been taken out of the oil and gas fields inside of 12 months. Unbelievable. U.S. oil production drops steeper than expected. U.S. oil production is falling more steeply than expected, forcing analysts to scale back output projections even before a deeper plunge in planned upstream spending further cuts supply later this year. Genescape said production by May 20th had dropped almost 20%, or 2.3 million barrels a day, from a peak of 13.24 in March. The volume lost already is almost as much as Russia and Saudi Arabia last month pledged to cut in a historic supply deal that begins in June. It will alarm U.S. politicians, including President Donald Trump, who pressured OPEC to shoulder production cuts in a bid to push up oil prices so that American producers could profitably keep pumping oil. Genescape's latest numbers, satellite monitoring, and heat sensors at facilities across the U.S. suggested the biggest reductions were in the Permian, Shale, down 1.5 million barrels a day, and North Dakota, Bakken, 480,000 barrels a day. Well, of course, it's shale oil. And so here's the thing. Why do I keep talking about the reduction of oil and gas rigs, the reduction of oil output? Sean, don't you want oil prices to go up and oil output to go up and rig count to go up? No. We have too much oil right now, and that's why oil prices went from $140 a barrel in 2008 down to where we are today, the low 30s, is because we have a glut of oil, and that's because of shale. Shale oil is a product of $100 oil. When we had $100 a barrel, they came up with the idea of developing shale because at the time it was economically feasible. Of course, at $140 a barrel, you could drill a well for 15 to 20 million and get away with it and make a profit at the same time. Well, at $60 oil, that was the average price over the last 5 years. You can't profit from it. And so I talk about shale falling to show you that when the supply drops and the demand comes back with us going back to work, you're going to see oil prices go up naturally. The current setup is preparing for a large undersupply of oil starting in third quarter 2020 going into 2021. The loan set up for a rapid recovery in prices. That will combine well with increased institutional demand to lead to a large increase in oil demand and prices. We expect crude oil prices to spike above $100 a barrel in late 2021, fourth quarter 2021, as a consistent undersupply balances with strong demand. Guys, I'm not the only one saying this, and that's why I'm reading other people's information. It's really easy to look at a guy in the oil business with the cowboy hat on and think, wow, this guy's just trying to sell his product. Look, I could be in any industry I want. I love renewable energy. I thought about starting a solar farm and what have you. But if you calculate the cost of investment and how much energy you get out of it, it doesn't make any sense, okay? Something you guys need to understand is that we've used wind technology like 300 BC. They were using it back long before you think we discovered it. If you look here, right here, solar power, 500 BC, okay? First windmill, 644 AD. Okay, fire was the first energy that we used. So we had wood as a fuel source, and then we replaced it. Coal replaces wood. Why? Because coal is more dense, and so with less product, it could burn longer and hotter. Okay, that makes sense. You don't go from a denser product to a less denser and a more expensive fuel. That's what we'd be doing going to wind. We'd be going backwards, guys. Oil is the cheapest fuel source this world has ever discovered. And that's why it's the number one energy that we've ever used. It's not because of politicians. It's not because of Republicans. It's not because of the evil dictators like Putin or Saudi Arabia. No, it's because it's the cheapest fuel. I mean, that's why Walmart is one of the biggest chains in the world, because you could buy your groceries much cheaper than you can at Safeway or more expensive grocery store. You could buy cheap plastic parts cheaper there than any other place. So oil is the Walmart of the energy industry. I mean, back in the caveman days, it made sense to run out and kill a buffalo and drag it back home and feed it to the family, because he spent less energy hunting for the animal than he consumed. And so the problem with wind energy and renewables is that it's unlimited, yes, but the cost to harness it, okay? And so it's as long as it's more expensive to use green technology, people are going to use their gas-powered cars. People don't want to go from Walmart to a more expensive store just because it's healthier, okay? If everybody did it for health, then Walmart wouldn't exist. We probably would eat a lot less steak, probably drink a lot less. And, so it doesn't come down to what's better for human life. Now, the people that are crying about it, you're hearing a lot about how renewables, I get it all the time on my YouTube channel. I talk about oil, and these renewable lovers, they attack me all the time. But it's kind of like, look, here's the deal. For instance, COVID-19. If you tell me where you stand, what side of the COVID-19 virus you stand on, whether you think we should continue to stay at home versus, hey, let's get the economy going again. If you answer that one question, then I could pretty much tell who you're voting for come this election cycle, whether you're for Joe Biden or you're for Donald Trump. Okay. And so if you're for Donald Trump, more than likely you want to go back to work. If you were for Joe Biden, you want to wear the mask and you want to shut down the world, okay? Statistically speaking, that's the truth. Well, it's same thing with oil and gas, okay? And so when you go to do your research, you don't know what to believe, just like you don't know what to believe with COVID-19. Do I believe that doctor that owns his own practice that I just got from my buddy Jim through Facebook Messenger? Or do I believe Dr. Fauci? Do I believe Donald Trump? Do I believe Mike Pence? Do I believe Joe Biden? Who do I believe? Okay, well, it's the same thing with the renewable fossil fuel argument. You go to the internet and you're going to get a lot of opinions. Well, here's the thing. Oil is the most dominant energy being used today. Oil is here today. The other argument is that, well, there's peak demand, okay? We hit the peak of demand, okay? Well, the Information Energy Administration, peak oil demand is still years away. The world hasn't seen peak oil demand yet. The head of International Energy Agency. So this guy right here, sorry, you can't even see him. This guy right here, he seems like a smart guy, right? He works for the Information Energy Administration. Are you going to believe him or you're not? Are you listening? So here's the thing. The Democrats are putting information out there to destroy the oil and gas industry. But what they don't realize is that they are destroying renewable energy side, because as long as oil is really cheap, the renewable energy cannot compete with oil. Yes, maybe when oil prices were $150 a barrel. And so oil is here and it's here to stay. Okay. Unless you're willing to give up Walmart, unless you're ready to start spending more money on your fuel, okay? If we got rid of oil, if we had a Democrat in office and he found a way to put so much red tape around oil and gas industry, shutting it down, we would have a very poor country. We can't afford renewable energy. We can't. And people would have less money for entertainment. We wouldn't be able to go as far. And so it comes down to this. The shale oil and gas industry, and I heard Art Berman. He's a 40-year geologist, and many news agencies call him to interview. He's very famous on YouTube for podcasts when it comes to the oil and gas industry. And I heard him straight out of his mouth. He said, "I foresee oil dropping down to 6 million barrels a day by the end of next month." That's unbelievable. Oil is dropping much faster than we expected. And what's going to happen, quite simply, at some point, the demand is going to line up with the output. And when that happens, you're going to see high prices. Okay. So I'm Sean Pruitt, president of Kingdom Exploration. I develop oil and gas properties. Right now, we've got a project in Oklahoma, and we just drilled 2 successful wells, and very excited. And we're profitable at current prices right now. So if you drill a well for $600,000 at $30 oil, there's a lot of money to be made. Just shale oil and gas that's the only thing you hear about. When you think of oil, you think of shale. The crybabies that go on Fox News and CNN about low oil prices, they're in the shale business. Shale was invented while oil prices were over $100 a barrel. Well, now they're not economically feasible. But before $100 oil, we had conventional oil plays. Those are the plays I'm still involved in. And so conventional is profitable now. Okay. So we're able to get into premium leases that we wouldn't be able to get into had oil prices drop. Oil prices are $30-something a barrel. I'm very comfortable with that price. We can make a lot of money. And in the meantime, while we're making money, we're selling lease acquisitions. If oil prices come back stronger, that's that much more money we can make. So if you want to learn more about current oil projects, learn about the tax benefits, the income, how the whole project works, feel free to go into the description, click on the link that says request information, and fill out the form. I'd like to give out a disclaimer. There's no guarantees in the oil and gas industry. Okay, so talk to your mom, talk to your wife, talk to your accountant, talk to your attorney, talk to every person on the planet before you invest. All right, guys. Thanks for your time, and I look forward to chatting with you in the future.